The ultimate disconnect is a disconnect in the moment. In the moment that we do something that is against what God needs from us, and we allow the spirit of folly to enter and to think that in that moment I'm not disconnected. But we are totally disconnected in that moment, yet the divine soul is connected, but in exile. It can't express itself. It still yearns to connect. So we have a dichotomy over here. You're completely getting vitality from a negative force, klipa. That klipa is even greater than the individual who violates the will of God. And yet, there's a complete faith that we have and desire to connect. But that desire is so covered over, that hidden love of the divine soul, its desire to and yearning to be connected with God, is completely in exile, completely jailed in that moment. But it's only in the moment. And this is so empowering to know that if we do something wrong, that we're getting vitality from such a negative force, and we're worse than that negative force. But it's in the moment. The next moment, I could choose differently. I could get my vitality from divine countenance, from God's holiness, from his inner will, to be truly connected with him. Think about it. What a great sense of hope. Yes, it's devastating what we could do in a moment. And think about it. Think about it in human relations. In human relations, we can say something so nasty to somebody in a moment, and there'd be such a disconnect from that person, us to them and them to us, perhaps not necessarily. Depends. And yet the next moment, it can be turned around totally and reconnected. So we see that in human engagement, and that comes from divine engagement. Because really the connection is always there, an inherent connection. Not you and your boss that you're not, don't have an inherent connection. The only connection you have is, what you gain from each other. But I'm talking about your parents. I'm talking about your spouse. I'm talking about your children. I'm talking about, actually, amongst Jews, it's fellow Jews. It's a similar idea, right? As we'll learn more about. That can turn around in a moment, because with God it's turned around, because the inherent connection is always there. It remains. The divine soul is in exile. It can't exercise its desire, its yearning to connect, because it's covered over. That's why it's called a hidden love. By the spirit of folly we have in the moment that we think that what we're doing now, or saying now, or thinking now, is not really disconnected. Yeah, idolatry, that would really disconnect me. And that I wouldn't even, fake it that I'm, bowing down to idolatry, and I'm ready to give up my life for it. Well, you don't have to give up your life to not think a negative thought, not say the nasty thing, or not do something that is inappropriate. You don't need to do that. So if the spirit of folly won't enter, then we will not be disconnected, and we will recognize, hey, what it is. And you don't want that. A powerful idea that is, once again, a game changer in our lives. A true game changer that when we can, contemplate this, think about this, the great empowerment. It's not eternal damnation. It's not, it's not as bad as whatever it might be. Now, that has nothing to do with courts of law and so courts of law work differently than heaven does. And they're supposed to work differently. What was the ramification of the sin that you did? Oh, murder? Oh, okay. That's different, right? And Torah has those laws too, absolutely. But here we're speaking about not what the outcome of the sin is, but what is sin? Disconnect. To disconnect from my true inner desire to be connected. That I want to be connected to God. And through that, I'm connected to others in a inward manner, in a inner will that's an end in itself. That's what we really want. We don't want to be connected to others that we're just using them for my benefit. It may feel beneficial in the moment, but it never really cuts it. Because then we feel empty. Because we feel like we're just, I'm a friend because I got something from you. I go do something for you because I hope to get something, I have an expectation to get something in return. So, no, that's a disconnect. That's not real. The soul wants to be connected because it's inherently connected. So for our loved ones, we want to be connected because indeed we are connected. And when there is that disconnect in the moment because of something wrong that we're thinking, saying, or doing, that inherent connection didn't change. Your mother's still your mother. Your spouse is still your spouse, and your children are still your children, and your fellow Jew is your fellow Jew. It didn't change. So there's an inherent connection that's still there. The yearning to connect is still there. So the beautiful thing is, in that moment there's a complete disconnect. But not the next moment. We could choose otherwise. That is powerful. Think about it. Yeah, we did something wrong, but it could change in a moment. Yeah, questions, comments, thoughts. Two question marks before you ask a question, please. All right, John, I see. So my feed, I don't have Diane, and I don't have Diane, Paolo, or Michael. I lost the feed. I'm sorry. Sometimes I talk maybe too much. I don't know. John, when the Jewish people left Egypt, there were 202 sparks to Rapach. There were 286 sparks. Was the evil of the Klippa and the lowest form of Klippa, all of that remained. Must the remaining sparks of holiness elevated before Mashiach comes? Yes. All the sparks have to be uplifted, yes, absolutely, and exalted and elevated. Davida, when someone speaks Lashon Hara, it affects three people. Yeah, the one saying, the listener, and the person being spoken about. How does Klippa encompass all three people? Klippa is a life force. It is a vitality, right? It is a vitality. That's what it is. It's God. All life comes from God, but it comes in different forms. It comes in holiness, which means from his countenance, from his inner will, what he truly desires. Then it comes from his hind part, so to speak, the outer will, from the backside, right? Like throwing a gift to somebody that you don't want to give because they're, they're an enemy of yours or whatever, right? Metaphorically. And so are you giving them are you giving them a gift? Yes. God's giving us a gift of life all the time. The question is where it's coming from. So it's a force, energy. It's a light of God. It's vitality, life itself. Lord, looking forward to the meditation class, learning to be mindful of Hashem, the contrast oneness. And thank you, Lori. Reminder: you don't want to miss the JLI upcoming course. Please don't wait to sign up. ChabadZichron.com. Lori, when I fail in a situation, I find challenge returns at a later time. It's a challenge sent to me until I stay connected to God. Yes. Very good. Is the spirit of folly with anger or a reaction? Yes, anger, being reactionary, that's all the spirit of folly. Absolutely. Thank you, Vicky. Do the tzaddiks ever struggle? Oops. I lost it. Davida, do ever struggle with disconnect? No, never. A tzaddik is always connected and never struggles with disconnect. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a tzaddik. It wouldn't be righteous. When one does tshuva, are they still bound up to klipa? No, that's exactly the point we made. In this moment, you had a sinful thought, a negative thought of a loved one. By the way, to think about a loved one and maybe their challenges and how you can help them, and thereby you're thinking about their negativity. That's not a negative thought. That's actually a positive thought in trying to help somebody with their challenge, right? That's positive. But we all know, oh, look what he did again. Oh, just can't take it. Can't take him when he does that, Da 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 da. Right? That's a negative thought. Where did you get the power to do that? Created your own power? Where's your power come from? It comes from God. Where did it come from then? Klipa. When you have a positive thought, whoa, poor guy. What a struggle he's going through. Let me do something to help this guy. That's a positive thought. That's a mitzvah thought, right? Where'd you get the power for that? The choice was yours what to think. The power to think it comes from God. We're not energizing bunnies, right? We didn't create ourselves. We don't create any power for ourselves. We get the power. We get the energy. We get the light. We get the life from God. At that moment, it was coming from his inner will, his countenance. I hope that's clear. It's very important that we get that clear. Karen. World Wide Web, www. Chabad Zichron. Zichron is spelled Z-I-C-H-R-O-N. Let me just write it over here. I just put it into Facebook. So you have it there. Okay, Michael. I always feel connected despite my failings. That might not always be good that you should feel connected. When we do something wrong, we should feel the disconnect and then own it and move forward to connect. Fix what we need to fix, and then, and be then truly connected. So I don't know if it necessarily means we should always feel connected. When you do something wrong, you feel connected. That's not good. That means you won't own the wrongdoing. When you sense a disconnect, that you are disconnected, not the other. Diane, okay. Will watching the recording give you the same benefit as obviously, being there is better, but it's, watching the recorded class afterwards, if someone can't come at that time, is definitely better than nothing. That's for sure. Okay, thank you, Davida. Ah, okay, feel this. Got it. Good man, Michael. Vilma, if I'm understanding correctly, all life comes from God, but it comes in different forms. Exactly. Exactly. But the gift of life is an energy and life force that may be used for holy, unholy things expressed in our thoughts, speech, and behavior. Well said. Well said. Staying connected with God. Yeah, absolutely. Soul yearns to connect. Any disconnection that happens in the moment may change. Right, can change for the next moment. Well said. Well said. Well said. Okay. Anybody? Thank you, Billman. Anybody have something to share with us over here? Rabbi Raphael, Shalom Aleichem. Maybe you'd like to share. Norm, Michelle, Margot. Who else has shared before? Jeffrey. Raphael, to get it out of the way. I had the same thought. Um, Raphael said, we did a whole chapter now, and it was all about pirud, disconnect, and we did it all in one full swoop. The last chapter was about connect, and it took us 6 classes. Why? Because to connect, we got to go over and over and over. When about disconnect, we need to know about it. Absolutely, there's no question. But in one day's class, sufficient. Let's get it. Let's move on to the connection. Well, see, I had the same thought. Good thought. Norm, please share with us.
Hello. So great to be here, and hello to everybody, and thank you so much, Rabbi, and everybody who's here. I just wanted to say that now, looking in this virtual room, I feel like I've shared something very special with everybody. So I feel like you've created a wonderful atmosphere and feeling of connection. And I just wanted to say that I've had some difficulty on certain days understanding everything, especially the terms and the concepts. But today it felt like everything came together. It feels like it all, I'm not going to say it makes sense, but at least I'm feeling where we were going with this connection. And I really like it. And I just want to say thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Okay. Anybody else something to share? Not, got many more days together. Gotcha. Oh, we got some feedback. People call that negative feedback.
Rabbi, good morning. Just wanted to say, to piggyback off what Norm is saying, it's a beautiful thing, and thank you for opening up this platform for all of us to be able to continue growing and learning, not just individually, but collectively.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Pacha. Absolutely. Actually, I'd like to throw out the idea, and I don't know exactly what, but that we should see. The nice thing about Clubhouse is that they can create a conversation. Facebook, that's a little difficult, even though people post, but it's not a conversation necessarily with people. It's questions, and that's great. And Instagram also maybe has that challenge, but here that's conversation. So we have to figure out how we can develop further the community of those who come to learn Tanya outside of the class itself, in the form of conversation on Clubhouse. So I'm throwing that out there, and whoever wants to private message me and wants to be involved or help or has some idea on what to do, maybe further conversations, you know, in you know, in topics or something, maybe that's an idea. And you know, that's probably a good idea to do something. And we got to figure out in the other platforms how we can do that too. Maybe an Instagram to create that too, but that might be possible. I'm not certain how we can do that on Facebook. But we will continue. Michelle.
Hi, Rabbi.
Hello. Good afternoon to you in England.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to say you've saved me loads of money on therapy. I find this class so therapeutic. It really makes my day, and I have to thank you for this. I literally organize my day around this class.
Wow.
And you must know that when I can't make it, which is rare, but when I can't make it, I always listen to the replay. I want you to know that. And could you please talk to me or back channel me the link to this meditation class? I'd like to be part of that.
Sure. It's ChabadZichron.com, and you'll see there the JLI link. Oh no, you know what? You can go to JLI Montreal. I just realized JLI, which stands for Jewish Learning Institute Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah, that will give you that's a direct link. I forgot that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, JLIMontreal.com. That will get you there. Okay. Alan, please share with us.
Yeah, Rabbi Fine. I just want to say that I'm admire just how much you welcome into your classes and interact with us on a real intimate level. You know, so I really respect that. And you know, having been born and raised in Borough Park, Brooklyn, and valuing New York bagels, you know, after hearing your Torahs and knowing that you're from Montreal, I think I'm ready to taste a Montreal bagel.
Oh, you know, Alan, I mean, that we got hands down over New York, our bagels. Come on. There's no comparison. Ask anybody who knows the two cities. Oh, that's a good one. That was a good one. Yes. Well, anytime. Listen, we're still in a pandemic that is affecting certain things. Certain, you know, can be travel restrictions or whatever the case may be, but it's, you know, definitely having some kind of an effect. But that's only maybe on movement, but on the spirit, I guess there is no bringing us down or having an effect upon us. But yeah, anytime. Actually, one of the things I think would be amazing is to have a gathering, and maybe in the spring. There's going to be a Shabbaton in New York, a Shabbos in Crown Heights, and perhaps that would be the time that you know, I would be there with my wife and maybe others, you know, from Montreal, and perhaps a great way that we can meet in Crown Heights. But you know, more of that to come.
Will you bring some bagels, please, so we can figure out which are the best?
Okay. Now I'm up for the challenge. Okay. Now I have no choice. Absolutely. All right. Beautiful. All right, folks. Thank you all. Thank you all for sharing and being here. Most importantly, this is beautiful and wonderful as we do share every day. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad Zichron and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.